So for the casual players watching this video, we're going to go through some of the main concerns you are very likely having about playing the game, such as, does it take too long to level up? Will I need to find a guild to enjoy the game? Do I need to raid every week? Is the content difficult? And is there a huge barrier to actually get into the endgame content? And will I need adult nappies and a Mountain Dew dispenser machine in order to keep up with everyone else? So how long does it take to level up in Wrath of the Lich King Classic? Well, for most people, if you're doing it fairly efficiently, it's going to be between 124 to 168 hours, so between 5 to 7 days playtime. So if you played at least 4 hours a day, it would take you an entire month to get to max level. But let's say you play a little bit more on the weekends, like 8 hours, and then you could smash it in the ballpark of 3 weeks. Now this may seem like a long time, and then you're probably worried you're going to be behind everyone else. But you really don't need to worry about this because Blizzard have made many changes to the endgame content which allow you to catch up on gearing up faster than ever before. There's, for instance, Heroic Plus dungeons that now will drop raid loot. There's Phase 1 raids like Naxxramas that have a bigger loot pool. Plus, 10-man is now dropping 25-man loot, not to mention how it's so easy to get badges that could be spent on getting even better gear. So yes, the leveling does take a while. Sometimes they do put on a 50% experience buff called the Joyous Journeys buff. We'll probably see that return towards the end of this phase. But my biggest piece of advice here is to just chill and enjoy the journey. This is an MMO at the end of the day. A big part of the game is just jumping into this huge world and going around exploring. You don't have to get to endgame to enjoy the game. It's just a different part of the game. And my second piece of advice is to play on a server with a good population so that you can enjoy group content while leveling and obviously later for when you do get to endgame. But I would avoid the mega servers as a casual player as these can be very elitist and toxic. So for instance for EU I would avoid servers like Gehennis, Firemore, Golmag. If in US it's going to be things like Feralina, Benediction and Grobulus. My advice, if you want to play Alliance, come on the server Pywood EU, that is my server, and in my humble opinion, the best server in the world. And if you want to go on Horde, go and play on Mograine. Those are the two servers with a decent population that aren't locked or totally dead. Now for US servers, if you want to play Alliance, the only really good option is ATS, and this is a West Coast server, or the Westfall East Coast server, but that's slightly less populated. And if you want to play Horde, the only option really is the Aragal Oceanic server, or Irankius, which is an East Coast server. You don't want to play in a server with a small population because as a casual player, it will make it harder for you to enjoy the endgame content, or even the low level content to be honest, because it's just going to be that much more difficult to find a group. Now if you only care about leveling solo in the game, then yeah, you can go and play on any low populated realm that you want. I will leave the Ironforge Pro link in the description that tracks a rough estimation of server population based on Warcraft log data. And the fastest way to level in this game is to definitely get the Rested XP add-on. This is a power leveling guide that tells you all the best routes, all the best death skips, all the secret quests to pick up along the way for extra XP and everything like that. You'll find that in the description. And if you don't want to get Rested XP, you can check out my power leveling guide, which I'll leave a link to the description also. So will you need a guild to enjoy the endgame content, and will you have to commit to a raid schedule every week? Definitely not. If you're on one of these big servers, there will be multiple organised pugs every week for the latest raid that's just come out, or the raids from the last tier. And a lot of time, there's these on-the-spot pugs that you can just jump into also. I don't play on the biggest server in the world, there's always people making groups. So what you need to do, obviously, is get Discord and start joining pug channels. Or normally they are guild channels, or an alternative guild channel where they host all their pugs. Remember, you can actually make groups on Discord like you can see how I have. All of my pug Discords are in one group, so I can check, which guilds are doing pugs that week without having to look at the looking for group chat, which normally means I can get in there early and get signed up, increasing the chance of me getting into the group. You can also join the server Discord. Every server normally does have a server Discord. Just ask someone on the server for them to give it to you. I would also recommend joining a guild as a social because at the end of the day, it's what this game is all about. And many guilds will want to make pug groups for their alts, and you'll be able to sign up early to guarantee yourself a spot because guildies or at least they should, always take guildies over a pug. Remember, charisma points are very important if you want to get caught up to everyone else and just in general get your character geared up. Now, do you need to raid every week in this game? Well, if you want to be a top passer and do the hardest content that the game has to offer, like Order hard modes and the heroic raids later, then yeah, you definitely need to be raiding at least twice a week. So this will at least require 8 hours of your time, and I would say an extra 2 hours on top of that just to get your character enchanted or to farm a little bit of gold for consumables. I mean, if you are looking to make 500 gold every single day, that will only require 20 minutes of your time. If you subscribe to the channel, my subscriber only video will tell you how to do that. But if you want to raid just for fun, then I mean, you really don't need to join a guild and raid 8 hours a week, to be honest. But you do need to raid at least a little bit to keep on top of your gear, because pugs will require a gear score requirement. Because unfortunately the gear score epidemic has totally taken over the game now. You should be able to get enough gear score from Heroic Plus and the old raids to catch up, especially if you're in a class that's in higher demand like a tank or a healer. But if you're trying to pug later on in a phase, it will likely be much more difficult, because then people want much smoother runs and will ask for a higher gear score requirement, especially on these mega servers, which is why joining a guild, even as a social, is a way forward, just so you can join that guild's pug runs. Now, is the content difficult? Normal difficulty raids are definitely not difficult. There's not an immense amount of mechanics, and they're nowhere near as difficult as raiding in retail World of Warcraft. They have tuned Ulduar to be more difficult, but this is only because they want Ulduar to be relevant content for a longer period of time. And the last question to answer, is there a huge barrier to get into endgame content? I think I've more or less answered that fully, to be honest, but to summarise, 1, it's much easier to gear up now. If you don't join a big toxic mega server, the gear score requirement won't be too high, so you will be able to pug groups, especially as you can get so much good gear from Heroic Plus. Join a guild that does organised pugs to increase the chance of you getting to raid, and be sure to make a folder on your Discord of all the pug groups on your server so you can sign up early. But most importantly guys, just chill and enjoy the game. It's not difficult to get a character leveled up and start raiding. It's not impossible. You have to get rid of his mindset that it's too difficult to get into the game and it's too late to start playing, because it's just not. The only time when that is actually the case is when, you know, it's the last couple of months of a new expansion launching. But even then, you can jump on and play the game and enjoy other pre-patch content. You just have to go through the correct loops to make your life easier and steadily progress your character. That's literally the core design of an MMO. It's the way this game is meant to be played. You can't really enjoy an MMO without a little bit of patience. If you're an impatient person and just want to jump to endgame content really quickly and, you know, get gear very, very quickly, then, I mean, you have to just make friends, obviously, and get them to carry you. It's only the real way to do that. Or alternatively, go and play a MMO that is pay to win, or an MMO that just doesn't focus on endgame raiding content and is more of a casual, chill, sandboxy exploration and immersion MMO. There's plenty of them out there. We'll be talking about them very soon on the channel. But anyway guys, my name is MetaGoblin. Until my next video, ciao.